Hello, everybody. Welcome to Entropy Emporium. Thanks for coming to hang out tonight for another evening of Invisible Sun Blooming in the Raw, an Invisible Sun actual play. It's been a while, so bear with me while I bumble my way through the intro, and then thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight. First of all, before we get started, here on Entropy Emporium, for now and for the foreseeable future, we will be raising money for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. Um, do not look away. Keep all eyes on Palestine, on Sudan, on the Congo. None of us are free until we're all free. It's very, very important that you continue to speak about it, spread the word. If you cannot donate directly, we totally understand, but just continue to speak and advocate for freedom for all. Additionally, if you like what we do and you want to come hang out, we do have a Discord. It's just a lot of us being feral and screaming about our characters or the caffeine cart when it wheels in every morning because we all get really excited about that, saying good morning to each other, sending good vibes. So come hang out, come see what we're doing over there. Finally, I always like to let people know this is a horror game. So if this is not your cup of tea, that's totally okay. Take a step back, take care of yourself, but there are going to be some horror elements, especially as we're progressing in the story for the areas that our players are headed into. That is all of the Entropy Emporium introduction. We'll talk about the channel a little bit later on when we do outros. My name is Kian. My pronouns are they, them. I've changed my pronouns again because gender is not real. And I'm going to be the storyteller for this evening. And I'm really excited to be back with this cast, with this game. Obviously, you can see we are down one player. Nox is taking some much needed rest, but hopefully she'll be able to join us for the next game. For now, I'm going to hand it over to my players. Go ahead and introduce who you are, who you're playing, what your sentence is. If you don't remember, that's your forte, your heart, and your foundation, I want to say. I can't remember exactly which ones it is, but go ahead and give us your sentence. And we'll do a little recap. But if you remember where your character left off, let us know what you're doing and what you're headed into. We'll start with JT.
Hi, I'm JT. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing Stellan Faust, who is a connected stoic of the Order of the Weavers who strikes deals. Stellan was on their way home to finish a spell and strike a deal.
Wonderful, thank you. We'll hand it over to Ava.
In honor
Sorry.
of Knox, I was going to be mid sip for her. Shout out to Knox. Hello, everyone. My name is Madam Ava. Tonight I'll be playing Isra, who is a Emmerich empath of the Order of Goetica, who plumbs the depths of sleep. And currently, she was looking through the eyes of a summons to see some bad shit happen, and now she's preparing to be a witness to a deal. And we'll see what happens with her wife today. Who knows?
Everything is fine. It's totally fine. And we'll hand it over to JD.
I mean, speaking of everything being fine and always fine, that's what I always say across the board. Hi, I'm JD, pronouns he, they. I am playing Alistair, pronouns they, them, and they are an itinerant empath apostate who hosts the Legion. And they were hopefully, I don't know if hopefully is the right word. They were looking to maybe finally get some answers about why they have so many demons inside of them and how that came to be.
Very excited for that. And as I said at the top, my name is Kian. I am the storyteller, which means I get to play everybody who my character or who my players are not playing. I love the system. I love this game. That being said, I am a very rules flexible GM. So if you play this game because you really like to follow the rules, you're not going to like the way I run this game. But that's okay. I totally understand. But I'm just really flexible about it. However, one thing I do really love about this game and that I really try to stick with is the Soothe deck. I have already drawn our first card for the evening. So let me pull that up and then I will read the intro just because that's the way we're going to do things tonight. Where did it go? The card for this first scene is the Suspicious Hound. Value 0, visions, swans, blades, and water. Meanings are doubt, suspicion, lack of clarity, judgment, and decisions. The hound stands sentinel and you approach, but you don't want the suspicious hound to be focused on you. Snarling and glaring, the hound isn't certain of its enemies, but once it decides that you are a danger, that's almost certainly a bad thing. However, the hound is also the representative of our own doubts and difficult decisions. In many ways, we are the suspicious hound, or at least we ought to be. Indigo magic is enhanced, gray magic is diminished, and empaths receive a +1 to all ventures. So,
It's real quick question.
yeah.
If any of the like Divisions 1, Blades, Water, if that's mentioned on our sheets too, does that count for anything? Because I have Visions, Wands, and Blades.
So this means that you should be an empath then, is that correct? Are you not?
Yes, I am.
So that's why empaths receive +1, is because
Okay.
this is a card from your house, so that this card is one of your defenders of your house.
This is gonna be a great day for Easter egg.
Yes. I totally believe in the cards pulling exactly what all of you need tonight. That is my hope. That's what's gonna happen. Before we get started, Empress Jalad does not invite entities into the Pale. It is not in her nature to entertain guests. She has far too much fun toying with the dead, and there is no use for the living. And yet there stands the enemy of choice, crown stained with blood and chain gripped tight in her hands. She stares at the Empress, expression blank, eyes unseeing. She doesn't need to open her mouth or eyes or ears in order to speak or see or be heard. Her attention is rapt on the Empress of the Pale. I have never known you to invite a Lord of the Dark into your domain, the enemy of choice says. And never will you again, the Empress says. I have no love for the living or the half alive. Then why am I here? Asks the enemy of choice. Because I am bringing you what you seek. The Empress raises a hand and a red demon appears, shackled, hissing and snarling, jaw clacking loudly as it gnaws on its own tongue. This one served under the dark demon you're looking for. For the first time, the enemy of choice's expression shifts, a glimmer of interest. Duasis? She asks. Indeed. I have no doubt he and his host are coming here. The Empress smiles, gleaming white teeth inset into a mouth without lips. I invite you to welcome him here. So, now we can get started with our players. We will start with Stellan. Stellan, you are headed home to make a deal, and by all accounts, this is a deal I believe that you're looking forward to. This is a deal to be made with Bellamy, as well as one to be made with Alistair, or to revise. What was your deal with Alistair?
My deal with Alistair is strictly to train them, and in exchange, they will do jobs for me. Alistair's purpose in being there was strictly as a secondary witness, and also um, because I needed something to listen to for 3 days while I finished this stupid spell.
Fair enough. Um, hmm, OBS is not playing nicely today. That's okay. Um, you are walking along. Bellamy is with you, and probably gets sidetracked by ice cream or something sweet or anything except for this deal, because it's not like anyone is super excited about these deals when they enter them with Stellan. Oftentimes they are suspicious, they are concerned about um, sort of Stellan pulling a fast one over them. And so Bellamy is looking for a distraction, and you, I imagine, continue walking. You know where you're headed. You assume Bellamy will follow. Except when you get to your front door, Bellamy is not with you. What do you do?
Mm, it is unfortunate, but she needs me more than I need her at the moment, so I'm going to continue inside to start working.
Fair enough. You head inside. You solve the puzzle at your front door and head inside into your home and pull out the spell that Carter originally was working on. Carter, who you have not seen for at least 12 hours, if not more, at this point. Which is not terribly odd given that somebody bartered weekends for him. And so now he gets to take breaks, which is really exciting. So maybe he's just taken a weekend break. Um, but you pull out this spell that Carter has worked on, and initially this looked completely lost to you. This were schematics and words, and there was so much going on that there was no way for you to make sense for this. Um, but now it makes a little bit more sense, in part because of the research that you've done, in part because of the information that Isra was able to gather for you from the Goetic library. You sit down and you start working on this spell. Um, what are Stellan's habits when it comes to sitting and working on things like this? Are there any quirks that he has? Does he sit? I'm sorry, do they sit and work all the way through? Are they taking breaks? What kind of drink are they drinking? I'm just trying to get a little bit of a better picture.
Stellan is Stellan is the kind of autistic where they can just sit down and completely tune the world out to work. Um, they take breaks because it is better for them to do that than to risk faltering by working for 72 hours straight. But the extent of the breaks they take are either to sleep, to eat, or to make tea, which is what they drink while they do their work.
Can you remind me, what is Stellan's favorite tea?
Stellan likes a lemon ginseng with as much honey as will dissolve in the tea.
Got it. You sit and you are working on your tea, and we'll jump over to Isra. Isra, I know that you had stopped by your home because a summon was looking for a jar of flesh that you had given them directions to as payment for their help.
God, I forgot I did that. Yeah, she
You dropped it
certainly.
so casually.
Summoners have to have things on standby.
It's
So
true.
yeah,
You stop by your home. Are you doing anything else other than making sure that this jar of flesh is as you expected, taken and consumed?
I think so. Because I think she spoke with Eliseo on her way to the house,
She did.
so she doesn't have to do anything else in regards to Eliseo right now. You know what? I think while she's at the house, I think she wants to check in on her tarot cards to see how they've been since the hand has left.
The deck is there. The deck seems undisturbed. It feels a little bit more settled. It feels a little bit more comfortable. Um, you can also feel, although you cannot see Eliseo, you can feel that they're around you somewhere. She's kind of in this general space, not making their vision or their appearance known to you, but in this general space. And overall, the house feels a little bit more settled, which is interesting considering that you're about to go on a venture, and typically the house is aware of where you're headed and what you're going to be doing, sentient as it is. Which I do need to pause. What does the house look like right now?
I think, yeah, I think right now it's a hot air balloon. Don't know how that came to mind, but yeah.
I love it. It is a hot air balloon. It is not super far off the ground, very gently, just kind of floating up and down. The burner that's in the middle of a hot air balloon is there. It's silent, but occasionally you'll get this blast of heat that kind of pours through the house as the burner kicks on to make sure that the hot air balloon stays afloat and the balloon stays inflated. But overall, the house feels pretty settled. The cards feel pretty settled.
Oh, well, I suppose that's good. House, I'm going to be away for some time. I hope. Do you need anything before I leave? I just want to make sure that everything is secure with you and make sure nothing troubles you while I'm gone.
the house lowers a little bit. It feels a little sad as it lowers, almost like its shoulders are dropping a little bit at the idea of you being gone for a bit, before it picks itself back up. The house seems like it'll be okay. It will somehow persevere without you, but it is definitely going to miss you.
I'll miss you too, but I'll make sure I'm back. You're the comfiest place that I sleep in.
There is a general sense of comfort and a little bit of pride when you say that.
Good. She's gonna go to her study to make sure if either A, the summon is there to pick up the flesh, or B, the flesh is gone, meaning that the summon is gone.
You walk in, and the jar of flesh is indeed gone. You had given it pretty clear instructions, so the summon knew where to go, how to get to it, took that, and disappeared.
Good, excellent. Well, if I'm gonna be going in there, does she know this? I guess this is the pale sun that we're gonna be probably going into. Does she know if she can do summons in the pale sun, or is she gonna be just wildly not prepared and safe?
A very important question. You are able to do summons under any sun. The standard, if you were summoning a red demon under the red sun, it would be stronger. If you were summoning a dream entity under the blue sun, it would be stronger. Under the pale, that is the domain of the dead. And typically, you are not trying to summon the dead, though you can. You can summon ghosts or spirits or anything like that. And being in their own domain, they do come across a little bit stronger, a little bit clearer. But you are able to do any kind of summon under any of the suns.
Okay. I think she's gonna prepare like a nice little satchel of, in case of emergency, here's what you can offer for the summons type of vibes. And I think she's going to prepare. Yeah, I think the house will be able to do something like this. She's going to prepare a letter for the. What is the dream house called?
The Dreamery?
Yeah, the Dreamery. I think she's going to have a letter set aside and tell the house, if I am not back by the, what's a good enough time? By the fifth time by the fifth time it is time for me to slumber, can you have this sent to the Dreamery and see if they can check for me in the dreams? Just in case.
That is absolutely easy enough for the house to do.
Cool. Because Easter thinks she'll be fine. However, she did get attacked by whatever the fuck that lady was, so good to be cautious.
This is fair. This is very fair and valid. Eliseo did let you know that she cannot go with you into the Pale. She will not be able to travel with you there. Anything that you need to say or do to wrap up that conversation with Eliseo? Just checking in.
Is Eliseo feeling a bit more truthful tonight about the nature of Eliseo?
You are welcome
Any
to
truths?
I think, yeah, if you are going to get anything out of Eliseo, it is because they feel guilty that they cannot go with you. So it would be a moment of, oh no, I can't travel with Isra. Let me just give this up just so that she feels a little bit better. I don't know if Isra would take advantage of that, but if she would, you're welcome to ask.
I think I have a way to do it. I know you can hear me right now. And one, I would like to say thank you for respecting my privacy when I went to go see my friend. Before I leave, though, there is something that I would like clarification. It was something that my friend spoke of. The way we spoke, it has been clear that you are not my dream guardian. And that is something that typically is reported. But my time with you is very fond. I enjoy your company and I enjoy your warmth. And I don't want to be rid of that just for someone that I don't know. But even in knowing you as I've known you this time so far, there's still so much I don't. And the fact that you're not my dream guardian truly, in the traditional sense, I just wish to know the truth of things in case, well, in case something changes.
There is a glimmer in a surface nearby. You know this to be Eliseo revealing herself, coming into vision. Um, the necklace of moons, uh, still spinning slowly, sort of separating her head from the rest of her body. Eyes closed, sort of has that very beautiful blue and gold kind of woven into her entire appearance. You want to know the truth.
If that is something you can give me, yes.
You're headed somewhere that I cannot protect you, and I've already exposed you once to dangers that you did not need to be present for. I can't give you everything, but you are right. I did intervene between your dream guide and you. There was a dream that you had of a cathedral and a stained glass window shattering. And knowing that you had that, I needed to step in.
Is that dream important in some way?
Very, I would say. Perhaps the most important dream you've ever had.
Is this. Do you know if this is tied to the one that I know as Bellamy? She mentioned something about shattered windows, shattered glass.
I think that it is tied to your entire group of friends. I think it's slowly bringing everyone together, which makes me nervous, to be honest. It's going to put you in a lot of danger, all of you.
Hmm. Why did you step in?
I think because in some ways the dream was leading you to me no matter what happened. And I felt like speeding up that opportunity.
Isra wants to know from the statement, this Eliseo. The basis of the question is this Eliseo trying to find means to manipulate Isra, or is this a type of care? And it is still going to be of the guise of, even if the initial reason was for manipulation, is the tone of their voice now reading there's genuine care, if that makes sense.
It does. Go ahead and roll me interaction. We'll put this at a CR 5 -1 because of your relationship with Eliseo. If there's anything else that you have as far as reading people, understanding what their intentions are, anything like that, we can add that as well.
Do, 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 do. Does it help that I persuaded Eliseo to open up a little bit more? Because I do have a skill in persuasion.
Yeah, I'll say yeah. What level is that skill? Level 1?
Just one.
Okay, so you need to roll 3 or higher.
6.
Nice. This is genuine care. This is genuine concern. More than that, Eliseo truly believes what they're saying. That there is something connecting all of you to whatever that dream was that you had. And that dream is absolutely why Eliseo stepped in. And now that that connection has been made, for whatever reason, they believe that that's going to put all of you in a lot of danger, especially considering your exposure to... I don't think that you quite know yet that she's called the enemy of choice, but the enemy of choice, as we as the audience know.
I think she at least knows it's an enemy, but not exactly which one. Yeah.
Okay. And traveling into the Pale where Eliseo cannot go.
Will there ever be a time when the full truth can be told to me?
I would like to say no, but I think that my hand will be forced eventually. And I hope that I can tell you before any problems come due to my hesitation.
I think I can accept that for now. Well, I will hold this conversation in my heart and in my dreams as something to motivate me to come back, because I would like to know, and I will genuinely miss you.
I'll miss you as well, and I'll be keeping watch. If the house sends this letter, I'll come looking for you myself.
And she's going to lean forward into the reflection and just like give a small kiss to the reflection. And before she backs away, I don't think I've ever properly said just how beautiful you are. Just so you know.
Eliseo smiles and looks a little bashful, kind of ducks their chin a little bit. That is truly an honor coming from one as lovely as yourself.
And she's going to finish her packing and head out. We're going to break Eliseo down through kindness. That's been the long con this entire time. Make Eliseo feel guilty with kindness. And it's slightly working.
It is slowly but surely getting to her. Give me 1 second, if y'all don't mind entertaining chat for a minute. I have to go check why somebody's knocking on my door at 7:40 at night. So I'll be right back.
Everything's a little bit gay sometimes, and everything's good.
I was going to say super gay. Listen, we love to see it.
We're going to get to contract soon, so gotta have some gay, and then go into hell.
I love a blank contract.
God. Man, it really was a bad time to be like, hey, give this man weekends.
It was. I regret that.
And
then literally the box of Stellan being always right.
Hey. It is no one's fault that a crater opens up and he fell inside. No one would have predicted that. Not even Stellan.
But it is your fault that Stellan hasn't noticed yet.
Well,
is it, or is that?
As far as I know, he's taking one of those weekends.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like Stella's the type of person that's like, yeah, someone's taking a weekend, but I'll still keep tabs on people. I just won't approach them.
Keep my word.
Mm,
Carter's weekends are Carter's. I'm not to violate the own terms of my contract. I'm not an animal.
mm.
It
We'll
just,
make
I regret the fact that you successfully have been making deals with every single one of us.
I was so close to all three of you. I was this close. This close.
there is a sandwich shop that Stellan really, really likes, and they're just like, if you can get your the bookmarks of all these contracts, you get a free sandwich.
Stellan's got to collect all card. Got to catch
The
'em all.
organization that I work for, where we do contracts, they have like the best sandwich shop in maybe the universe. I don't understand. You have to put so many people under your thumb just to get a sub. It's crazy.
It's a very weird MLM. Don't ask about it.
I'm not a bad person. I just really want a sandwich.
But that's how they get you, those MLMs.
Give me 1 second. Let me send a quick message.
Also, to be fair, Stellan still doesn't have a permanent contract with Isra either. So,
Nah, they've always been temporary.
awaits.
Isra's playing the smart game. Isra was like, we'll do this, but we're going to make sure that it is not going to be too permanent. It's not going to tie me up too much.
I have other things to deal with.
You will have a problem that only I can solve eventually.
I mean,
Everyone does.
technically you did. You solved the hand problem.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been fair, and Stellan's nothing if not fair.
I apologize. Thank y'all so much for sitting and entertaining chat. Isra, you were just wrapping up your conversation with Eliseo. You were getting ready to go. Are you headed to Stellan's place?
Yes. Maybe make a quick shop at the crystal shop just to get some other supplies, but we don't have to RP that out.
Crystals. I will never forget that y'all did that to me. I can't believe. Stellan did give you the paper that has the answer to the riddle to get into his home, so you have no problem getting there. You're knocking on Stellan's front door. Stellan, in the middle of your tea and working on this puzzle, you hear a knock on your front door. I cannot hear JT. Is that just me?
All right. That's my bad. What are the odds that that's Alistair? Alistair would know better to knock, I think. They know they have to solve that puzzle. Okay. Stellan's going to put their pen or quill or whatever they have lying around down and grab their cane and open the front door.
You see,
Mr. Mott.
Hello.
What a pleasure. Come on in. Bellamy has been deeply sidetracked, so I do not know that she will be joining us, but it'd be nice to have a conversation while I work this spell over.
Oh, of course. Is this the spell that you asked questions about and had Carter look into?
This is the spell I had you look into. Carter had originally started this spell to locate something of mine, though I can't seem to recall what. But
how's it going?
It's fine work. It'll take me some time to finish it, but it should take us to the Pale, no problem.
Well, that'd be good to know.
You two settle in and spend some time quietly. Is there any sort of specific conversation you have? I want to give y'all a chance to RP it out if there's anything anyone needs to ask anyone before we jump to another scene.
I had the very dumb thought of just being like, can I visit your restroom? I forgot to get a new slice of skin for potential summon, and I have an extra jar available. But I won't do that to stop it.
Issa just
That'll be
disappears
on
into
the fly
bathroom.
emergency.
Yeah. Well then, we will jump over then to Alistair. So before we jump into this, I am going to draw a new card from the Soothe deck. I'm so excited.
What card is it? What card is it, Kian?
I love the Soothe deck so much. I have drawn the Devil. Value 0, Secrets, Ravens, Books, Flame. Meanings: temptation, lies, charm, persuasion, and words. The nemesis of secrets is the prince of lies, the devil. Of course, there are many devils. Their commonality is their need to corrupt the world around them. Charming, sexy liars that seek to draw mortals into their own evil. Devils don't kill, they talk. They don't destroy, they tempt. The term devil stands apart from demon in that way. A demon is typically a relatively unintelligent engine of violence and destruction. Devils are far more insidious. Everyone has a -1 to their ventures. Gallants have a -2 to all ventures. So, you are sitting in a room that's kind of set up a little bit like a psychomantium, with mirrors kind of facing each other in Bellamy's home. After you had asked Bellamy, "Hey, can I use this space? I need to have this conversation." And you have just learned that Duasis is a demon of the dark, and is the reason that the Legion does not feed on you, is the reason that the Legion is there in the first place. But you don't know why you were picked. You have no idea what exactly Duasis was thinking when he saw you and said, yes, this will be the one. It is a very quiet space right now because X-Star is still recovering from his interaction with the Rift, trying to make sure that, well, we'll scale back a little bit. It's quiet also because so many of the Legion were taken through the Rift. A very large portion were snatched and grabbed and yanked through, and you're not quite sure how or why. And then the hand that Stellan has been keeping as kind of a little pet decided to attack you. And X-Star used a lot of energy to try and make sure that you were safe and away from that. So it's very quiet, which is interesting. But there is a little bit of rumblings. The Legion had started to make an appearance, and Duasis was very quick to shut that down, tell them none of that, and they all kind of vanished and disappeared, and has invited you to take a seat to learn about what exactly is going on. Do you sit down? Do you get comfortable? How are you feeling right now?
So much has happened that at this point, Alistair has gone through a variety of emotions, from anger to fear to shock to confusion. And in this moment, they are essentially moving on autopilot. They are sitting down, they are doing as Duasis told them to do. And I don't think they are feeling much. I think they are feeling pretty numb in the wake of how things have transpired thus far, and in the face of whatever information they are about to receive. Because they can't imagine this is going to be enjoyable information to find out.
Duasis nods, and he has never made himself quite so visceral in appearance to you, has never made himself so visual. But he's there in the reflection, and he looks very mundane, looks very human almost. If it were not for the gold sort of markings on his skin that seem to shift, and even that could be a V-Slate trick, that could be some kind of an illusion. So it feels very strange that you're having this conversation here with something that looks like This could just be another Visley on the street. Duasis seems to step forward closer in the reflection and reaches his hand out and starts to push. And you can see the glass physically stretching and slowly shifting and moving. And instead of shattering, as you would expect, it almost seems to part around his hand. And it takes him a bit to do this. It takes him some time. But he slowly peels himself from the mirror until he is standing in this room with you. You've never had one of the Legion physically stand in this space with you, and it is a heavy feeling. There is a weight to him. There is a weight to his presence. And he looks at you and says quietly, "There's so much less of you than there is of everyone else."
What does that mean?
When we found you, when I found you, you were not quite in pieces, but not quite whole. Did you know that part of your soul is missing?
I don't think that's something you can just casually say to a person.
I would not have expected you to take that information well, but X-Star is the one who is fanciful with his talk and able to beat around the bush. I would rather get straight to the point.
So part of my soul is gone.
And I have no idea where. When I was looking for a host, I needed a host that could make space. And as I said, there is less of you than there is of everyone else. And I don't know why that is exactly. I don't know if part of you died. I don't know if part of your soul died somewhere. I don't know if that was in shadow, although you could always see us in shadow. You could always hear us for some reason. You knew we were there. And it starts to kind of come back to you that this face that Duasis is wearing, you've seen this before. This was a person that you saw in shadow. The image that you have in your head when X-Star speaks, that's not a coincidence. The Legion was in shadow with you, and they weren't part of you then. They were just other people that wandered in shadow in the world that you happened to come across. But they always kind of caught your attention when they would. But Duasis continues, "You always knew that we were there. And that was interesting to me. And then when I found out that part of your soul was missing, well, I figured you could make space for the army that I needed. The army that I want in order to become one of the Lords of the Dark."
Oh. Is that all you want?
For the time being.
And so you saw me and you thought, hey, there's some free real estate?
Coming back into shadow is hard for you, Visley. It's challenging. You don't go to and from shadow willingly. I did, and I had brought part of the Legion with me. You were
Why?
there.
Why?
Did I go into shadow?
Hmm.
I was bored. I thought there might be something fun to toy with there. And I found you.
You found that toy.
Don't get me wrong, Alistair. I could not be where I am now. I could not do what I have done without you. I am in your debt in a lot of ways. And I have grown fond of you in the time that we've had together.
How do you see me, Duasis? As a host, as a vessel, as an empty space, as a friend? What exactly am I to you at this point?
You say friend, and Duasis kind of shrinks back at the word. Not there's almost confusion to it whenever he does that. Despite your being only half alive, half of a soul, part of a soul, I see you as a person. I suppose friend would be a word that you would use. I don't think that you think of me as a friend, so I won't claim that. But a companion. Certainly useful, I won't deny. But not simply a tool, Alistair. Not even to me.
So what happens now?
Well, you made a promise to one of your friends, since you used that word, to your first friend, Bellamy, that you would help her in the Pale. And I suppose I will travel with you. We're getting awfully close to the person that I'm running from. The one who knows that I left the dark, who knows what my plans are. If I have to choose between the safety of your friends and my own survival, Alistair, you know what I'll choose.
And so I suppose that promise was not a wise one to make if I will inevitably let Bellamy down.
You may not let her down. If we can move in secret, if the enemy of choice is not able to find us, I'll have no reason to betray your friends. But again, the Pale is much closer to the dark than the Indigo Sun is.
And what about when you have your army and you are ready to take action, Duasis? What becomes of me at that point? Am I just a needed sacrifice? If I am in any way standing in your way? Or I am no longer useful, though you made the point of saying I was not just a tool.
A tool would not have the audacity to speak to me the way that you do, Alistair. You're too much of your own person. When I have my army, when I can do what I will, we will leave. Where that leaves you, I can't say. There's never been a host that a legion has divested from. To be frank, I don't know if you'll live through that, Alistair.
You speak of my death quite casually, Duasis.
Again, I couldn't have gotten as far as I have without you. But I think you and I both know, and have known since the beginning, one of us would have to die in order for this to continue. As much as you say we, as much as you refer to yourself as one of us, Alistair, you have always been your own person. There are very few times that we have helped you make a decision that you didn't want to already make. There are very few times that we have turned you towards something that you hadn't already chosen for yourself. Two entities cannot inhabit the same body when they are both so different, not permanently.
You say that we both knew how this would end, Duasis, but we didn't. I didn't. But as you have made it clear, your plans are your plans, and nothing will stand in the way of that. Not promises that I have made to others, perhaps not even deals I have made with others, not even my own life. So it seems that we will work together as long as I'm useful. Though, again, you say I am not just a tool.
A tool would not be able to find a way to separate me from them and live. And I encourage you to try, Alistair. You have space in your soul for more than just yourself. Perhaps you can find something else to fill that void.
Perhaps I can.
I won't make myself physical very often, but I wanted you at least to be able to see who it is that you're dealing with. And as Duasis says this, he begins to morph. He begins to extend and expand. 2 horns come from the top of his forehead, and 2 more curl from the back of his head. His lips recede and his teeth grow sharp, and his skin darkens until it is almost black. And all of the gold vanishes that had been dancing across his arms. And his smile stretches to his ears, and his eyes go dark with red pupils. If you decide to cross me, Alistair, remember that this is what you'll be dealing with. And then he shrinks back down into the previous form.
You know, Duasis, it's interesting that I have made no threat against you. Yet you ensure that I am properly intimidated, that I know my place, and that I am lesser than you. And I don't really think that was necessary.
Well, X-Star can't be the only one with a flair for the dramatics, so. Speaking of, I think he'll be awake soon. I'm sure you much prefer to engage with him if you must, rather than me right now.
Before you go, I do have one question. Duasis, are you scared of me?
There is a moment where that face that you just saw flashes across this body without expanding, without extending, just that face, and it is snarling and it is angry. And those eyes are staring at you before it centers itself. Demons of the dark don't know fear, Alistair. Don't ask such stupid questions.
And here I thought you would never lie to me, Duasis.
I'll take my leave. I know when I've said enough. Besides, you have friends to run off to, don't you? Deals to be made and upheld. When you're in the Pale and you're traveling and you're angry with me, just remember that I'm the one keeping you alive. I don't have to feed on the army if I don't want to. I could feed on you.
More unnecessary threats to Assus. But they are heard.
Very well. Duasis steps back into the mirror, and as he is moving past the final point of it, the mirror cracks, almost as though it is difficult for the mirror to contain him. And he moves all the way back into it and disappears from your vision. And there's a moment of quiet, and it doesn't feel empty. You can tell that the Legion is there, smaller, but still present, before Extar comes forward and says, I'm impressed you held your own with him.
Thank you, Extar. How are you?
Exhausted. That hand was something fierce. I've never engaged with a warden myself, but it seems even without the entire body, there's something not to be messed with.
Do wardens usually walk around as disembodied hands?
They do when they're hunting, and I say this, and you get that sensation of when somebody is leaning in conspiratorially and kind of glancing around to see who's listening. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but Nem is the warden of the dark. Nem makes sure that nothing from the dark leaves to the other sons. And, well, something of the dark is here with you, so.
Seems like Nem might not have done their job.
Sounds like it. We're outsmarted in some way. Which should serve as a warning, Alistair. It is not easy to outsmart and escape a warden.
No, I would imagine it isn't. And I suppose that in and of itself says a lot.
He's very strong. Try not to be on his bad side. I don't know that there's another side to be on necessarily, but
We seem to be aligned in that belief, yes.
I'll do what I can to calm him.
Extar, who are you to Duasis?
A second in command of sorts. A demon of the red, so I don't stand up to nearly his stature, but I can manage the rest of the Legion for him. It's beneath him, of course, to be with the foot soldiers, as it were.
Of course. Though perhaps a misstep on his part. And Alistair seems like they're going to say more about that, and then chooses not to.
Tread carefully in the pale, Alistair. Whether or not the enemy of choice that Duasis is running from is there, the Empress that lives in the pale is not to be trifled with, and she does not take nicely to people venturing there without her permission.
And so it is unlikely that I will be able to be on her good side.
Very unlikely that any of you will be on her good side once you arrive.
Understood.
But we'll be there. Begrudgingly, perhaps. But we'll be there.
I am sorry that I am bringing you all there. I know, obviously, it is being allowed, because I would imagine otherwise I would just be stopped, but I do not want to put you all in any danger more than I already have with the company I keep, apparently.
Consider it a fair trade. We've put you in danger plenty, Alistair.
I can accept that.
When you're in the Pale, it won't just be the Empress that you're dealing with. There will be other entities there that serve her. The Light Eater, the Doll Maker. There are a number of them to be wary of.
So tread carefully, it sounds like.
Yes. I wish I had more advice for you, but I've never been to the Pale myself. I've just heard horror stories in my time.
Well, then it seems like we are all going on this adventure there together.
Duasis aside, I would not have it any other way, my dear.
Extar, why are you nicer to me?
I enjoy and respect. Don't tell anybody else that. Somebody who is willing to do what they want to do, rather than join one of those Vslay orders. And I enjoy your company, Alistair.
This might be a strange thing to say, given that you are one of many inhabiting my body, but I enjoy your company too, Extar, for what it's worth.
I'm honored. If I could do Duasis's little trick of coming through the mirror and showing you myself, I'd give you a hug. But that is outside my realm of capabilities right now. Perhaps in the future.
I would like that.
Well, I don't want to keep you any further from Stellan. I know that you have things to do and
No,
lessons
please
to
keep
learn.
me further from Stellan. Please keep me longer.
You have selected your company, Alistair. We had nothing to do with that.
I know. I can't blame you for that one. But yes, I should make my way over before. They're probably standing there waiting for me so they can have the witnesses for the deal signing. So, yeah, I should be there.
I will get my rest. I will keep Duasis in check. Enjoy your time, Alistair, and I will speak with you soon. And you feel Extar fade to the back in a way that normally he does not. But you imagine is probably because he is as exhausted as he is. But it is quiet for you. It's almost as though there's been a line drawn in the sand. So you can feel the Legion there, but they're not crossing that line. Everyone's almost trying to give you space, almost trying to respect some privacy as much as the Legion can. But for the time being, your time is your own. Do you do anything else?
I think Alistair just grabs the meager belongings that they have and heads to Stellan's.
You arrive at Stellan's, and you do not have a slip of paper with the answer to the puzzle. Go ahead and roll me intellect. Stellan, how difficult is the puzzle today? What CR would you give it?
I'd say probably a 5 today.
Okay, so CR 5.
I would like to spend Bene to bring that down a bit.
All right. Do you want to spend 1 or 3? You can spend up to 3, so you could spend 2 or 3 if you would like.
I think for this, just 1.
Okay. CR4.
That's a 7.
Wonderful. Easy enough to solve. This one, for whatever reason, you're able to just ease your way through this puzzle today. And you are able to get inside Stellan's home, and you see Isra there, and you see Stellan there, but you do not see Bellamy.
Is everything okay?
At the very least for me, yes, but I'm assuming you're asking about Bellamy. I haven't seen her.
She wandered off on the way over. I thought perhaps she was taking a minor detour before the apparently life or death situation at hand took place, but she is not a shown. So good for you for solving the puzzle today.
I solved it the last time too.
Not without help. But I think
Should-
this. Go ahead.
Should we be looking for Bellamy?
I imagine if Bellamy would like to be found, that would be a very easy task. You don't ask me for a deal like she did if your next instinct is to disappear entirely and not go through with it.
Yes, which is why I'm worried.
No, I just mean if she were in danger, it would be more apparent, that's all. We're only going to the most dangerous place in all the suns. Okay, sorry, let me rephrase this. She can handle herself. She's a perfectly capable Vslay.
Are we all forgetting what just happened with the crater opening up and what happened when Bellamy and I were near it?
The once-in-a-lifetime event, followed by several other once-in-a-lifetime events? Yes, I'm familiar.
Okay, so my question remains, are we just forgetting that that's something that just happened and acting like she couldn't have been taken or something like that?
I think that's a very strong point, Alistair.
If she had to be taken again through a different rift or crater because she was not near the first one, it would be an entity strong enough to break through twice at different locations, and it would be an entity that none of us could ever hope to kill. So, if it is such the case, as you were saying, that she's been taken through some other miraculous crater, then she is already dead. In which case, why waste the effort?
Alistair, I don't have a lot of particular summons that could probably assist in finding Bellamy, but I do know of one that is specializing in aid, and I think that would be something that could be useful in at least acquiring an answer, or perhaps counsel. Counsel or aid would probably be helpful in that situation. If you would like, I can try to see if I can ask.
I would appreciate that. I want to make sure that Bellamy is safe, and if she isn't, not just sit here waiting and wondering.
Of course. Stellan, do you have a room that summons can be performed in, or do you have a backyard so I don't disturb your home?
You can just use my bedroom. There's
Very
plenty
well.
of space on the floor if you need to draw a ritual circle. There's nothing on the walls for you to knock down with your summons. Just don't touch the trophy case.
Wasn't planning to. If anyone wants to observe, then they can. I would just prefer absolute silence The spirits tend to be finicky when others get involved.
You should close the door then. I'm going to have Alistair play.
Very well. She'll go to his to their room. What
You
one would be best?
you enter into a very modest space. There's not any decorations, as Stellan said. There's a trophy case in the corner, and that is it. There is a bed. Stellan does indeed sleep. Is one of the entities that needs sleep.
Well, at least they sleep.
As far as which one would be best, aid tends to be with a physical task, so actually going out and searching, and counsel would be a question. Where is this person? Is this person still on the Indigo Sun? Have you seen them pass anywhere else? Something like that. And you would, if you're asking the question, you would select an entity that you think might have the answer. So for something like, is this person dead? You might summon a spirit, something like that.
Okay. Isra isn't as negative to think that Bellamy is dead. Well, the one that she knows as Bellamy is dead. So I think it will be. I think she'll summon a council who, kind of in the vein of what's the name of Hera's favorite servant who ended up being the inspiration for Peacocks? Essentially, one of many eyes. I want to have a many eyes spirit summon.
Okay. Ooh, my brain just blanked. I'm so sorry. Let me pull up my notes really quick. What level of entity do you want to try and summon? I want to say that you're able to summon up to level
Up to 3.
3. Okay.
Bellamy's a main character. Let's do up to level 3.
Bellamy's a main character.
She's got to be worth at least 3 levels in spell.
As much as I love Carter, he's probably a level 2.
Never, ever spend more than 1 level on a spell for Carter, okay?
No, level 2 for Carter.
Carter is actually like the boss. You know, we actually need to do a level 10 here.
If Carter is the final boss, I will personally buy and swallow jewelry.
What sort of entity is giving, as somebody, I think you said Hera, which is Gideon the Ninth, I'm guessing, and I don't have.
Oh no, Hera the goddess.
Hera the goddess. Thank you. I heard Hera,
yes.
And I was like,
no, not that gothic chick today.
Thank you. Thank you. And then you said inspiration for the peacock, and I was like, I think I follow, but now I'm really confused about what's going on. I understand. Okay. I'm trying to think of what kind of entity this would be. I mean, many eyes automatically go to a biblically accurate angel, is what's in my head. But you could do a many-eyed vibes demon as well. What do you think you're going to try to summon?
Let's go angel. I think she's been having a nice rhythm of like angel, then demon, then angel, then demon. So let's keep up with that rhythm.
Wonderful. You start to prepare. How do you prepare this space to summon an angel?
She doesn't have her traditional candles with her today, so she's going to create a barrier of a circle with the crystals that she got from Crystals. And maintaining an air of respect of the space. She's not going to do a lot of moving of things. She's mainly just maintaining the bare area that has been allotted to her. So crystals, taking out her sands to draw out an outline, and she'll sit on the left corner as she is summoning.
Okay. So you'll pay 3 sorcery to summon this angel at a level 3. you begin the summoning, and just so that you know, if you try to bribe or threaten an angel, it automatically increases the challenge of the summon. So do with that what you will. Proceed as you would like, but I just want you to know.
Yes.
Hey, thanks, Mac. Argus was the name of the many-eyed giant who was a servant to Hera.
Thank you. Oh, it was in the back of my mind, just itching.
You begin this summoning. What do you do first? How do you reach out to try and summon this angel?
There is a friend who is in trouble, and trouble seems to follow her. She was supposed to meet us, but she has not come through. And I, and one closer to her, wish to know that she is with us. I don't believe she is dead, but I am concerned of her whereabouts. I would ask for your counsel to see where she has gone.
The room gets colder. Typically, with your flames, there's still that sensation of warmth, but the room starts to get cold as this entity begins to take shape in the middle of the room. You see first the body form, and it is a pinstripe button-down shirt, a long coat over it, almost like a business person, which is very interesting. And then the head begins to take shape, but instead of an actual head, what you see is almost like a smear of paint. And the center of it is like a void. It starts out on the edges as sort of reds and then fades into blues and greens, and the center of it is so dark it looks like a void. And the entity holds its hands up, and very much like the pale man in Pan's Labyrinth, there are eyes etched into the palms of this entity's hands as it holds its hands up, and it seems to be observing you, kind of shifts its hands around to kind of look at you from different angles. You want me to tell you where your friend is?
Yes, the one who refers to herself as Bellamy.
I would like information in exchange.
I know you said bribery and threatening increases. If I ask a clarifying question, does that hinder? Okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, making sure. What type of information would you seek?
There is an entity that you're in contact with that I have questions about.
Which one? I know so many.
One that I think you would know by the name Eliseo.
I knew it. There is much that I do not know about the one named Eliseo, so I fear the knowledge I may have is limited, but depending on your question, I may be able to answer. Is there anything else I could also provide if it is not satisfactory?
We'll see what your answer is first. She calls herself Eliseo, but that is not the name that I know them by. Do you have a different name for them?
I don't think Isra has ever had another name.
Mm-mm.
Unless someone has referred to Eliseo as a different thing, but no. No, I've only known them as Eliseo.
They came to you in a dream once and have stayed with you and walked with you since then. The information that I would like to know is this. Have you ever heard of the term, the stained glass angel?
I technically have, yeah. As Bellamy said it. Not through my dream walking, and not through Eliseo. Through another. And that actually is the person I'm seeking.
The entity pulls its hands back, and slowly curls its palms over, its fingers over its palms, and goes quiet for a moment before saying to you, your companion has returned to shadow. Brief as it may be, I expect her to be able to come back on her own. But she is safe.
Okay.
She is alive. I will give you one more thing, and you don't have to offer anything else in return. Eliseo would call themselves the Stained Glass Angel. Know that they are not a true angel. Tread carefully with them.
I thank you for your counsel.
The entity, there's a focal point in the middle of the head that stays steady as the rest of its body is slowly wrapped up into that focal point, and it disappears.
She will clean up very calmly. She will make sure everything is in its proper order again. Will not touch the trophy case again. And she will open the door and just like yell out, "She's in the shadow, Alistair. She's fine. I'm gonna sit in here for a second. One moment." And she's gonna just close the door again and just kind of just sit on the floor, but like kind of just lean against a wall just to sit and be alone for a second. It's like, interesting. Okay.
As Isra is taking her moment to process, I think that that is an excellent time for us to go ahead and take a break. So we are going to go on break, hang out for 5 to 10 minutes, pet some pets, drink some water. If you need to take any evening meds, now is a great time to do it. That typically lines up. And we will be back in just about 5 to 10 minutes. So sit tight, hang out, and we'll see you soon. And welcome back, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed your break. We enjoyed ours. Got some clarification on some things, was able to chat about some stuff, and I'm super excited for where this story is headed. So, um, we ended off with Isra taking a second to process that Eliseo is also called the stained glass angel, which is a term that Bellamy has mentioned before. Bellamy found in some research. Um, we have learned that Alistair is only part of a soul. Stellan, we haven't had any major reveals for you yet, but don't worry, because I'm sitting on those and I'm real excited about that too. Um, it's going to take a couple of days for Stellan to do this spell. It's going to take probably 3 to 4 days. Um, what are the other two of you doing in the interim while Stellan is working on this spell?
Oh, I believe I'm there for Stellan's entertainment during this time.
That's not true. It's not for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
All things with cause.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the safety of Alistair, Isra will be there, but she'll send word to the house, be like, I haven't left yet. I'm just at this person's place. I'll let you know when I'm leaving. Because the house worries.
Stellan, you are unexpectedly hosting a multi-day sleepover.
That's fine.
I love that. Isra, do you try to contact Eliseo?
Hmm. I think when she sleeps, she's hopeful to see Eliseo. I don't think she'll willingly, especially in Stellan's house, try to seek out Eliseo.
Fair, very fair. Um, you do sleep and you do dream, but Eliseo does not visit you.
Did Alistair give permission for Isra to go into their dreams? She's gonna see if maybe it's possible to go into Alistair's dreams while she's just chilling there.
Okay.
Like, well,
You are in this limbo space. The archway appears as it always does. Typically, Eliseo would be there to greet you, to walk with you in this dream. She does not make her presence known, but the archway is there. The space is open for you to be able to walk through to get into Alistair's dreams. Alistair, what do you dream about, do you think? I have thoughts, but I want to give you the opportunity.
I don't think that Alistair ever remembers their dreams. But I think that their dreams often start with pieces of memory from their time in shadow. Of walking down streets, perhaps seeing some familiar faces, sitting in a coffee shop, working on something on their computer. But everything's just a little off, a little hazy, a little morphing the way dreams do.
Isra, you walk through this doorway into one of these coffee shops, and you see Alistair sitting at a table, um, sipping on a drink, seems to be typing furiously, writing something. There are other people in the coffee shop, some paying attention to Alistair, some not. It seems like a very normal day. The edges are blurred, so it's hard to define what's going on outside of this coffee shop, outside of the door, unless you were to head into that space. Everyone kind of warps a little bit and kind of seems to bend and ebb and flow with the warping of the edges. So it's interesting the way that the people there are starting to exist. Except there is one person who is very, very clear to you. They have gold markings that seem to dance on their skin, and 4 horns, 2 that come from the front and 2 more that curl from the back. And they're sitting and they're watching Alistair. And then you walk in and they glance at you.
I do want to rewind a little bit. If because it's been multiple days, I think if there is a pattern of Alistair not showing up, I think Isra would have done the treasure from the deeps forte ability beforehand before going into Alistair's dream, and she
Okay.
wants to summon a journal so she can keep track of what she sees for Alistair and bring it to them
Okay.
when she comes out of the sleep. So
Easy enough for you to do.
she'll have that journal, and she kind of looks at the being, cocks her head, and see if they do anything in regards to that. It's like,
They kind of cock their head to the side, kind of mirror you, but it's delayed. It's not as though their movements are your movements, but they also cock their head to the side, and they smile. I don't think we've ever had a Dreamwalker here before.
I was permitted by the one who is dreaming.
They're not
Does
the
the
only
voice
one
sound
dreaming.
Does the voice sound familiar? I feel like she's maybe heard or felt some of the Legion before, so does this feel familiar to her?
The feeling would. The voice would not. You haven't heard one of them yet, but the feeling of the presence that Alistair seems to always be bringing with them, you get that sense here as well.
As the one permitted to be here, I wish to take notes of the surroundings for Alistair. You are one of the Legion, I'm assuming, so I just wanted to make sure that my intentions are clear. I mean no harm to them.
Before we continue, I drew the card and I forgot to share the card with everybody. So the card for this scene is the Conspirator. Value 7, secrets, ravens, books, flame. Meanings, upheaval, hidden agendas, and gossip. The conspirator keeps to the shadows, whispering with others like her. How many conspirators are there? Who is involved? We never know. Those hushed whispers in the right or wrong ears can tear us all apart, bring us all crashing down. The conspirator is the defender of secrets. She guards them and the family they represent. It is her role to know the secrets and spread them as needed, whispering to just the right people at the right time. Gallants receive a +2 to all ventures in this scene. You introduce yourself. You let this person know that Alistair has permitted you to be here. I am indeed part of the Legion. Tell me, has Alistair ever shared our names with you?
No, I don't believe so. I know
And
there are many of you, and I know one of you broke something of mine. I think something startled them.
my name is Duasis. And yours is Isra, if I am remembering correctly.
That is correct.
Well, here are Alistair's dreams. You don't have a Dreamwalker guide with you.
They come and go.
Well, allow me. And Duasis will stand and walk over and hold out his hand to you.
I want to know the intention of this, this person.
Sure.
What's the vibe?
Go ahead and roll me a interaction roll. We're gonna call this a CR. This is gonna be a challenge rating, probably an 8. This is pretty high because 1, it's very obvious that this is some kind of a demonic entity, and 2, this is one that you do not know, so you don't have any connections here. If you want to use hidden knowledge, if you want to spend any bene.
I want to spend a hidden knowledge, and it goes I think since her time, since being in the space of one of the enemies, she has gone to the Goetic library and read up a bit more on demons just to make sure that she's a bit more prepared. So knowing how to interact with them a bit more outside of summons. And then I would like to spend a bene.
Just one?
2. We'll spend 2.
So that brings it down to a 5.
8.
Nice. Very good. This is an entity who, right now, at the very least, is being genuine, is very much saying, I will walk with you, but has his own intentions, as that is very clear to you. You don't think he means to do you any harm. It doesn't feel like he is going to endanger you or hurt you, but there's there's something going on that he's being secretive about, some kind of intention or goal that he has.
Very well. While I walk through Alistair's dreams, I would appreciate the company.
Do you take his hand?
She will take his hand, but not the hand she uses when holding Eliseo's. She uses her left for Eliseo. She'll use the right for this one.
Okay. You take his hand in yours, and the coffee shop begins to bleed away. And Alistair is still there, furiously typing, but there's no table, there is no computer, hands just moving in that motion. Their dreams are difficult to follow sometimes, and I'll admit, not always the most interesting. Sometimes it's just evenings spent here in a coffee shop, or walking the streets, or going to work. But every once in a while, something curious comes along, and the space around Alistair begins to take shape again. Alistair stops typing, puts their hands in their lap, and is just staring ahead, expression very blank. And there's something lurking in the shadows, and it's that sense that you get where you know it's there, and if you look in that direction, it moves just quick enough that you can't really make out what it is, but it's moving out of your line of sight, but you know something is there. The space around Alistair becomes a very comfortable looking space, a little bit like your own home, Isra. Lots of drapes hanging from the ceiling, lots of pillows. It seems like a very relaxed space. And then in a flash, almost everything is on fire. There's fire burning all around you. And then that fire gives way to ice, and then that ice gives way, and you're back in this dark space. And it's as though Alistair can't make up their mind what they're dreaming about. And Duasis looks to you and says, it's difficult. Alistair isn't the only one who dreams. Occasionally, some of the Legion will get caught in the crossfire as well, and you can see the conflict going on. But no matter what the change in space is, that entity is still lingering in the dark, just on the edges of your periphery, to where you can't see what it is, but it's still there.
Do you happen to know what the shadow that seems to be lingering is?
I don't. I don't think it's a demon. I don't think it's an angel either. I tend to be able to tell when those are near. But this is something else entirely.
I feel a bit sad for Alistair. Not
Why is
being able
that?
to really know. Well, they've expressed they don't really know what they dream about when they do. I guess that is one of the kindnesses of being a dreamwalker, is I get to know. And I suppose that's the reason why I'm writing these down. And she kind of just does the wave with her left hand. The book is floating. There's a quill writing in the air because her hand is otherwise occupied. So at the very least, they get to know at least a little something, even the mundane, because even the mundane has something peculiar in it. That's why they dream it commonly.
Dreamwalkers are very interesting.
I've been told that.
So you'll report back to Alistair what it is that's in their brains when they're sleeping.
I am assuming I will. I don't believe you will be someone to try to hinder that.
Of course not. It's Alistair's right to know what they dream about. Do you often meet other entities in your dreams? In the dreams that you walk in?
Just depends, yes.
Tell me about your dream walking guide. I'm curious. Demons are, for obvious reasons, never selected for something like that.
Not much to really speak on. They appeared. They have been with me through most of my journey. There are some times where they are preoccupied, and from what I understand, they are peculiar.
And you trust them.
I trust their belief in me and their intention. And I think, well, I think they would approve of that. They did warn me to not trust things easily.
Interesting. And Duasis raises their other hand that is not holding your hand and shoots their arm out. And it's in the direction of this entity and seems to extend their fingers into these very long, spindly claws and kind of just cages the entity, almost as though caging it against a wall. This shadow form that's been dancing around, but is looking at you the whole time and says, "Would you like to get a closer look at that?"
Isha's one of the weirdest black ladies I've ever played in my life because, of course, she's so curious about this, but it's like, girl, please don't. Have you always been able to do that?
Capture this thing.
Mhm.
I've never tried before.
Hmm.
Maybe I feel
Well,
emboldened with you here.
you being able to do such a thing for me, I find it improper to say no.
Do you move closer to this entity?
She will turn to it first, at the very least, to see what she can see from her vantage where she is.
Duasis lets go of your hand as you turn, and you see this shadow figure. And it almost looks like, if you ever, it's when you're driving at night and the streetlights are dancing over and over across whatever it is that you're trying to look at. If you're in the backseat of a car, I'm thinking of when I was a kid and I would try to read and I would try to follow the streetlights so that I could continue to read in the backseat of the car. But that sort of rhythmic pattern of the streetlights passing over, it's almost like that's going over this entity over and over and over again. You see a smiling face, but it looks like the face that a child might draw. It's just two black circles, and they almost look scribbled onto a surface, and just one kind of crooked smile. And it kind of turns its head just a little too far. Of course it does. It's here in a dreamscape. That's the only thing that it could possibly do, is turn its head a little bit too far to one side. And it's smiling at you, and that light effect is still happening, and it kind of raises a hand and waves some fingers at you and drops that hand back down, but it's just looking at you and just smiling.
Does this look like any type of entity that she has learned about in her years of training?
Roll me intellect. We'll call this a CR. We'll call this a CR5.
And there's no religious lore attached to this, correct?
You can toss that in. We'll bring it down to a 4.
Hell
Because
yeah.
you're kind of searching all of the lore that you have.
And that's a 6.
Nice. This is not something that you've seen before, but this is perhaps something that you've heard about. Sometimes when said that weird when. Sometimes when entities are summoned, you don't quite get them, but you get parts of them. You get sort of a sliver of who they are. And you've heard that it can look unrefined and it doesn't quite fit into any other creature or anything like that. That would be your guess, is that this is part of something. And being in Alistair's dreams, you imagine that this is just sort of a fraction of Alistair.
Oh. I think she'll take a couple of steps closer. And I think she's just going to ask, do you have a message for them?
The entity kind of leans away from the palm of Duasis and like slinks down and easily just removes itself from that cage that Duasis was making against the wall of this space. And slithers over, crawls very quickly. If you've ever seen Princess Mononoke, when the boar god at the very beginning has been taken by the demon and crawls over with all the legs. That's kind of how this thing moves, and comes right up against you. And it's sitting like it's squatting down, kind of like a frog would. And it leans in very, very close to you, and it's still looking at you, and it glances at the journal. It never once seems to look at Duasis, but it looks at you and it looks at the journal, and then it reaches out and grabs the journal and writes something in it. Its hand it's holding a pen the way that a child would, scribbles something into it and snaps it shut and hands both things back to you.
I'll deliver it safely to them. Thank
Kind
you.
of rolls onto its back, crab walks backwards, and puts itself back into the cage. I cannot express how weird this thing is.
It kind of just also makes me think of like a really wiggly cat that's just like doing like the weird like shimmy slide in your direction, but then also doing it backwards.
It's kind of what's going on. Like, this entity is quite strange, but it crab walks backwards and it puts itself back into that little cage that Duasis had made against the wall. And it stands there and it goes back to just smiling and looking at you. Just stands there for a second, doesn't do anything.
Literally just like, oh, I can get out of this easily. Hold on. Here's a note, and I'm gonna go back. What a very curious creature. Huh. I don't think you're harming. You're just observing. Duasis, is there anything else that you are emboldened to show?
There's no response.
Ooh, gone. She turns to double check to see if they're gone.
Duasis still stands there, but their mouth is open as though they're mid-word, and they have been frozen.
Mm. Kind of gonna go back over to them and observe from a safe distance, but still enough to really see what's happening. What's going on?
It seems almost like somebody has pressed pause on them. They are just stuck in that spot with their arm extended, holding, quote unquote, holding this creature with their arm fully extended, um, as though they were just beginning to say something to you before they were frozen.
Can she feel any other presence here?
Just the two.
Hmm. Hmm. Does she feel? Is there a change in the energy around Damasus?
It's muted almost. Seems
Hmm.
hushed.
Crushed. Oh. Hmm. And is the space safe or entering it into a danger?
It's still kind of been warping and adjusting as time has progressed. I would say right now it seems pretty mellow, pretty quiet. Alistair is still sitting in that chair, blank expression. Um, but there's no real form to it. It seems like maybe something is trying to form, but is having a hard time doing that.
Hmm. Something powerful enough to pause to mess. Still warping. And a crushing sensation. Issa doesn't do this a lot. She doesn't like doing this. Um, I think she's making this executive decision to wake up Alistair.
Okay.
So she's gonna go over to them as they're typing, and she's gonna go over to their hands as they're typing, and kind of move the hands so it changes the script to make it larger, and she will just type out 10 seconds, wake up. It is time to leave the space. And she'll step back and she'll rush back to her entrance.
You make it back to your entrance in time. The space behind you blurs and disappears, and Alistair, you wake up, and you do not remember your dreams, but you have this very faint, confusing memory of 10 seconds, wake up. But you wake up. Isra, do you spend time in sort of that limbo space, or do you wake up as well?
I think she'll spend some time in the limbo space to just make sure that she puts enough energy into the journal that all the information that she put in is able to transfer back over safely. Um, and to see if anything else happens. But she'll spend her full 8 hours of sleep in there.
Um, it seems to pass very normally. Nothing else, nothing major happens. You wake up on the other side of a somewhat restful evening, as restful as ever you can get. A little less restful, really, than what you typically get. Um, and you are still in Stellan's home. Stellan, I imagine that you are kind of working off and on throughout the evenings, kind of making sure that this gets done in time.
Yes.
You see Alistair wake up in the middle of the night, kind of abruptly.
Bad dream?
I don't remember my dreams.
So you've mentioned before.
Do you ever sleep?
I sleep when I need to. Given the urgency of the task at hand, right now is not a time when I need to.
So it's just something you can like on and off like a switch?
No, I mean, I still need to sleep. I just do it less. Did you know that the human body sleeps in 2-hour cycles?
I didn't know that. No.
So you can sleep for 2 short hours and wake up fine. Here's another fun fact. Did you know that nobody knows why humans sleep? Or why it's necessary for any creature to sleep?
Can't say that I knew that either.
It's a
Why?
fascinating thing.
But then why then does everyone get really worried when Bellamy doesn't sleep?
Well, because we do know that if you don't sleep, for whatever reason, for long enough, you die. That's it. 10 or more days with sleep, and you are at risk of death. Now, before that comes hallucinations, severe brain damage, minor brain damage, tiredness, which is arguably the least worst of the symptoms. But eventually you die.
Well, then it seems like there is obviously a reason that we sleep if the consequence of not sleeping is death.
Well, yes, but saying that we need to sleep because otherwise we would die is not a very satisfying answer. We eat because our body needs to metabolize energy. We drink water because our body needs to remain hydrated to do that. We need entertainment because otherwise we would go insane and kill each other. But we don't
And
know
that's
why we
why I'm
need.
here playing music for you.
No, I'm amazed you haven't figured it out yet. You understand that the source of my magic is music, right?
Yes, Stellan, I have put those pieces together.
Yes, and you're not playing with much fervor. It seems like you think I just brought you here to entertain me.
Well, that was the understanding that I had.
This is the incorrect understanding, and you didn't even ask.
You didn't say.
I thought it was clear. Or I thought you were smarter than you are. So, I'll let you pick which one of those it is.
You could be a lot more explicit in your communication for someone who makes deals as a part of their life's work. You let an awful lot rely on nuance and interpretation.
It is not nuance and interpretation to assume that you have the capacity to extrapolate. And it is not good for your training if I'm clear, because then you won't learn to extrapolate.
It would seem like a poor teacher to not offer guidance at the start of one's training.
I did offer guidance when we made the deal. That was the guidance. It's up to you to glean what you can from your lessons.
Understood.
Pick up your guitar and play me a song you actually want to play.
And
And in
what
case
if
it's
I
not,
just didn't want to play at all? What then?
well, then I would have you answer a question. Who are you?
I am Alistair.
Wrong. Who are you?
I am Alistair.
I don't care about your name. You could just as easily answer anything else. I want to know who you are.
Who are you, Stellan?
I am someone with goals and with the mind to see that others achieve theirs. I am someone who knows exactly what I want and how to get it. I am someone who understands the vibrations of magic in a way that you need to learn. So pick up your guitar and play.
Yes, sir. And Alistair picks up their guitar and starts to play. And at first, it is very much playing mechanically and by rote memory. But then I think it starts to get angrier. There is more emotion coming through. They are not just going through the motions. And they are glaring daggers at Stellan the entire time.
I'm saying this very specifically for a reason. The more truthful the music becomes, the more of a smile Stellan is wearing.
And there is a brief window where Stellan would see that Alistair just closes their eyes and lets themselves focus on the music. And that is the most truthful the music becomes.
I think Stellan would probably interject there. Keep your eyes closed. Keep playing at me. You're mad at me. I'm frustrating you. That's good. That is a good thing. I am not so obtuse that I don't understand how incredibly dull I come off. But you need to feel the vibrations in your own emotions. You need to feel the calling in your own soul. Not in your legion, and not anywhere else but you. Your head, your mind, and the way that it intersects with reality in the places you don't dare look. Hold on to it for as long as you can, and then go back to playing however you want. There is magic in your notes.
Kian, I do need to ask, how is the Legion responding to this?
Most of them have hackles raised, snarling. They are not pleased that you are being spoken to in this way, because by extension, they are being spoken to in this way. And then Stellan makes a distinct separation between you and the Legion, and it's even worse. That is a high form of disrespect. But they're not doing anything. And you get the sense that this is because either Extar or Duasis is not letting them, is watching and observing and letting this play out.
This is one of those moments where I would like the dice to aid in telling the story.
Sure.
And so if Alistair chooses to lean in and put all of themselves into this music, what would I roll to see what the effect of that is?
I think that falls into our sheer V-Slay audacity of a sortilege roll.
Yep.
I'm gonna land this right in the middle at a CR 5 to see if that level of truly leaning into things is accessible to Alistair.
I think that's fair, and I think because of that, I'm not going to try to whittle that down.
Okay.
That is a 6.
Wonderful. You lean into the music heavily. You lean into not only the individual chords, but those tethers of magic that are coming off of them as they continue to flow through you. If I may, I'm going to go a little off the rails here, but I would like to give you a new spell.
I would happily take a new spell.
As you are learning this. So I will send you this information, but I'm going to give you the Acrasia. In my head, I made up how I was going to say it, and now I have simply forgotten. You compel a being that you touch to act on their basest, most primal instinct on their next action. This is truly leaning into that just... I don't know how to compel you to do something specific, but I can compel you. I know how to use my magic to compel. So I'll send you this information shortly. But I think this is probably a very tangible moment of, holy shit, Stellan is onto something.
Is there like clear magic coming from the guitar now? Because that is going to inform how Stellan reacts.
It is not as visual as it is whenever you do it, but because you know how to look for the threads, you can tell that there is magic there.
Yes, excellent. Exactly what I was looking for. Right at the edge of emotion, that magic there. In the music that you play, it has to be truthful. It has to be exactly what you need to feel in the moment, and music is exactly what makes people do that. It cannot be taught. It has to be forced out.
Alistair does not immediately respond because Alistair keeps playing. And I think I'd like to use that spell on Stellan.
I just dropped the details to you. Stellan, and this happens for both of you, you hear this monstrous roar in your ears. Something awful, something visceral coming through. Both of you hear this. Alistair, it's clear to you this is not the Legion. This is an effect of the spell. Alistair, I need you to roll a d10.
5.
So this is a level 6 spell as you're casting it. I think this is Gallants have a +2, so there's nothing that happens there. Stellan, are you trying to resist this spell?
No, absolutely not. That would be
Okay.
bad for Alistair's training.
This is a level 6 spell. Stellan, your next action is the basest, most primal instinct of what you want to do. What do you do?
See, now that is a tough question, though. Even though I knew it was coming, because Stellan is not a base instinct person. I'm going to ask you to follow me here. Just for a second, because this is not going to make any sense as a response, but I think Stellan starts to cook.
Alistair, you watch as Stellan gets up and heads to the kitchen and begins pulling out. Are you pulling out pots and pans? Are you pulling out food to prep together? Like what is it that you're cooking? What does this look like?
I think in Stellan's not going to take their violin out because that's too much, I think. But they are whistling, and cupboards in their kitchen fly open, and pots move to their rightful place, and they're, swinging their fridge open and grabbing whatever ingredients they're just seeing, right? eggs, spinach, probably a few cuts of beef, flour, etc. Just whatever they can get their hands on for the most uh, common thing that they can make.
Alistair, what do you do?
Alistair slows down their playing but doesn't stop and stands just to keep an eye on Stellan and see exactly what it is they're doing, and kind of disbelievingly asks, are you making a midnight snack? What's happening?
Cold breakfast after the hour of midnight.
I don't know if that's true.
It doesn't matter. Time isn't real.
Are you feeling okay?
I mean, I haven't eaten for the last 3 days, but otherwise fine. Yes, absolutely. You did magic. That is what I wanted. That's what you should have wanted. Hopefully, at least to the very least, see the fervor in which I need to play, or understand the base of where any magic should come from. But yes, I'm making breakfast.
I'm happy for you, and I suppose this actually was an insightful lesson.
People are their truest selves when they're angry. It's important to remember that, especially with someone as much as you've got going on in your head. The only way to separate you is to make you upset. And I don't mean separate in the sense that you're not already separated. You're your own person, of course, obviously. But I don't see a future for you where the Legion continues to exist in your brain. And I don't think that you do either. And, hard to imagine what anyone could be if they were trapped with thousands of voices in their heads screaming all at once for control, or however the order, pecking or otherwise, goes in there. It must have been hard to wake up in Shadow, from Shadow, with voices you did not have before. And I need you to stay separate from that, otherwise it may kill you, or worse.
Why do you care, Stellan?
Why do I care if you're free?
Or if I live or die, or anything else?
It is easy to believe that I do not care about human life.
Yes, it
Because
is.
it would appear so. And I guess I don't. But you don't learn to play music the way that I do without understanding that the human condition is one of the most beautiful and artistic and magical things out there. So far be it from me to wish death on you just because we don't get along.
We could get along, Stellan.
That is entirely your prerogative at this point.
I don't know much about friendship, but what I have learned is that friendship takes both people.
I'm making you breakfast. I invited you into my home. I am teaching you to be your own person. Our contract does not beget friendship. Unless you understand my motivations, unless you see where I'm coming from and truly agree with my position here, then I do not think you will want to be my friend.
You know what I think, Stellan?
I don't, but you're welcome to share.
I would like a future where there are people in your life where your relationship with them is not built on contracts.
I have friends.
Do you?
Of course. I can't make a contract with everybody.
You could perhaps have more if you made less contracts.
I think I could also perhaps have more if people were not so averse to signing deals. Wanting something from you does not make me your enemy.
No, but I think there are many other ways that a friendship can be created. Just something to think about. Just some thoughts I'm having gotten lost in the music.
Don't belittle what I do.
I'm not belittling it, Stellan. I understand, at least in part, why you do what you do. I'm simply saying that it is very hard to want to be close to someone when they have told you that they want something from you and have asked you to sign on a line.
Well, then I suppose that's your prerogative.
I suppose it is. Do you need any help making breakfast?
Do you have any dietary restrictions? Does
Not
Isra?
well, I'm not a big fan on meat. I can't speak for her.
Well, I got spinach. I can throw some zucchini in the oven. Like eggplant if you care for an aubergine or...
Eggs and spinach would be wonderful.
So it is written. Hello, Raiders.
Hello, Raiders.
Hi, Raiders. I'm just having a wonderful sleep while the friends are fighting. Well,
Loud
talking.
music coming from the other room.
Yeah. It's like, what's that weird music I hear?
You are making breakfast, Stellan. And it is in the rhythm of cooking, of having something to do with your hands, that finally the spell comes to you. And you are able to complete the spell that you have been working on.
They toss whatever spatula or implement they are using. Actually, no. I'll paint the kitchen a bit better. It's all cast iron, everything they own, and then the spatulas and spoons are all wooden. Stellan cooks on a gas stove, and their fridge is as updated a fridge as you can get in Fartown, but everything else is maybe some of the most archaic cooking implements that have ever been made. But they toss all of that aside. They rush to the scroll and they scratch down the final runes and formulae. Outstanding. We are ready to go.
I will also be gifting you a spell. What this spell is. I will say this is not the original, quite specific intention that Carter had for the spell, but this gave you the basis to build it into something of a teleportation spell. The spell is called Color Door, and it allows you to bypass the path of the suns and teleport to a specific sun. It's a very expensive spell. This is a level 7 spell, so just keep that in mind. But you do not have a teleportation spell.
It is going to take everything out of me to get us there. Actually, we should wake Isra up. It's the middle of the night. Wait, go wake Isra up, would you?
There is no need. I can wake up on my own. Hello.
That is scary. I am unable to borrow power, and also unwilling to borrow power. Oh. Ava, go.
No, we have lost Ava.
Oh,
No.
Ava!
Ava, come back.
Ava, please.
You are... Actually, go ahead and continue with what you were saying. I apologize. I shouldn't have jumped in.
Good morning, Mr. Mott. Breakfast. Spell's done. He's going to take everything out of me to cast it, but
Perfect timing.
Yes, beautiful.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Don't know what happened.
just a little tech gremlins for our first time back.
It's true.
Oh, yes, what did you need me for?
Oh, yeah, breakfast is ready. Spell's done. It's going to take everything out of me to cast this spell, so it is going to be entirely up to you two to defend us until we can get to such a point where I can negotiate for the release of one of the 3 Bellamy's I've narrowed it down to.
Oh dear. Sure.
Also, actually, Miss Namat, if you can, while I'm thinking about it, since I can no longer take the precaution necessary, if you could conjure up a way to protect Alistair's mind from being forcefully separated from any more of the legion that have already been taken, that would be outstanding. We know there is something on the other side of that door that wants whatever's in Alistair, and until such a time as we can figure out how to separate them without killing him, we kind of have to safeguard their mind.
There is a summon of guarding that could be called forth. Alistair, are you alright with summons being around you? I don't want to impose, especially with the Legion.
I mean, I doubt they'll be particularly happy about it, but
If they interfere, they will be subject to a contract with me, so they're going to have to decide which is worse.
I'm gonna check in with the Legion and see how they're responding to everything that has just happened.
When you're done, I have some information for you. Take your time, though.
X-Star is the one who speaks up. Well, we were fine with it, and then we were reminded of the threat, and now it feels less so okay. But
God damn it, Stella.
if this is
Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
if this is what your little friends think they need to do to protect you, then who are we to stop them?
Xtar, what is this going to mean for me if I'm then caught in the crossfire of all of this?
I don't know. That needs to be a risk that both you and your friend are okay taking.
And I think Alistair both gives the impression of a nod, but actually nods in a way that makes it clear that they are talking to the Legion, and then looks to Isra and says, I could use the information you have before I make a decision.
Of course. Is this something you wish to speak of privately or in front of Stellan?
What is it about, Isra?
It's in regards to the thing that you gave me permission to do.
Let's talk about that in private.
All right.
You two step away,
Step to the parlor.
commandeer some section of Stellan's home.
Oh, this is for you. I was able to bring a journal in to take note of everything I saw in your dream. 2 points of maybe concern, but also, I met Damasus. They were polite. They were curious about my work. Hopefully, I was able to give enough to not impose too much. And then there was a little shadow being. They left a message for you. It's in the journal.
Alistair will take and open that journal.
Isra will give the details of everything she saw. The only thing she personally did not want to impose on was the message. So that has to be just given to Alistair.
On a random page in all caps, in very shaky, not clean writing, you just see, I am the part of you that you have been looking for. And then well below that, it just says, I miss you.
Oh, I'm happy Isra was polite to it.
Alistair just stares down at the page for several moments, reading and rereading that, and there are tears in their eyes.
Oh, I hope it's not anything bad. Are you all right?
I'm fine, Isra. It's nothing bad. It's exactly what I've been looking for.
I'm happy I was able to help at the very least.
I'm glad I allowed you to come in and get closer.
If you need any other assistance in that regard, I'll be happy to help. Just let me know.
Isra, do you think that if you do that summoning for that protection, it will protect that other being that you met there? Inside my head, inside my dream?
I wish I can give you a strong yes, but I don't know if I can. There are not true separations when it comes to dreams. People are still themselves in dreams, and anything influencing or part of that person is also in their dreams in a way. So I would like to believe that the protections that are to you will also extend to them. But due to how the planes of dreaming are a bit different, I'm not certain. But I will try to do the strongest I can to try to confirm it more.
I appreciate your honesty, Isra, and if you think we should move forward with that, I will trust your judgment.
Let's see. Reason here. Yeah. I think we can make this work. I have an ephemera that could probably work with it. It is the Angela Fani. It's a level 8, but it's an angel that appears and it aids with any action I take. So combining with that could possibly help with the summoning.
I think that as you are sitting and pondering this and deciding the best way forward, as Stellan is making breakfast in the kitchen, as Alistair, you are reading this message over and over from some part of you that just a few days ago you didn't know was missing. I think that is an excellent place for us to wrap for tonight's episode. Before I go around and ask for outros from everybody, let's really quick, because I always forget to do it after the episode. Let's do Joy, Despair, and Acumen. So we'll start with Stellan. Stellan, how are you feeling? Joy or despair at the end of this episode, do you think?
I hate to say it because I need another one to level up, but I think Stellan is feeling joy.
I think so too. That feels very apt. And do you feel that you took steps toward completing your arc?
Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Where is my arc? Where is my arc? This is a really cheesy one. But grabbing attention, doing something like hosting a party.
The sleepover has to count, right?
I hosted a party.
You did host a party. So yes, take one Acumen for that. Isra, are you feeling joy or despair at the end of this episode?
It was a bit touch and go for a bit, but I think she feels joy. She helped Alistair, and they seem happy.
And do you feel that you took steps toward completing your arc?
Not only did I help in solving a mystery that she wasn't even aware of for Alistair, she also got closer to figuring out what the fuck's going on with Eliseo. So yeah, she definitely did.
Absolutely. Go ahead and take an Acumen for that. And Alistair,
good job, girl.
Do you feel joy or despair at the end of this episode?
I think it was very touch and go, but I think at the end of this episode, they feel joy because they have confirmation that that part is there. Okay. And if they have that, they have a direction to go in. It's not a part that's lost.
And do you feel that you took steps toward completing your arc?
Given that my arc is healing from a trauma, absolutely this feels like it would count. This is probably the biggest step that they have taken in favor of that.
Wonderful. I think that was joys all across and Acumen for everybody, which is really exciting. That never happens. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Please hang out for a little bit longer while we do our outros and I prep our raid. We'll start with, actually, JT, is it okay if we end on you so that you can do the channel stuff? Thank you kindly. Yeah. So we will start with Ava.
Hello, my darlings and dears. It's your Madam Ava here. You can find me anywhere at Madam Ava Couture. I'm still mainly on Twitter because not gonna chase me out, but you can find me anywhere except for Threads. I'm not doing Threads. Next week, I don't think you'll see me on any channels because it's the Thanksgiving week and also my father's birthday week, so you won't really see me on this on anything. But the next time you'll see me on Tuesdays on Folk and Myth for Vampire Society, where I play Lysombra. That her only job is to be pretty. On every other Wednesday, it is Roll for Luck over on Girls of These Worlds. We're also jumped into Vampire there, where I play a Salubri who is just tired of everything. You can find me here on every other Saturday. And eventually on Exquisite Corp Present, you'll see me back there for Thirsty for Lesbians. We're trying to finish. We'll be back soon, I swear. But yeah, that's everything for me. Over to JD.
Hey, I am JD. I can be found everywhere at JD Not Jason Dean in terms of socials. You can find me most often when I'm not here with Live from the Apocalypse. I will be there tomorrow. We will theoretically be recording another episode of our Masks Actual Play podcast, Academy H, where I play a little guy who fucks around with death a little too much and maybe sometimes kills a lot of people because of that. It's fine. Monday, we will be back finally for Thy Kingdom Come, which is our dystopian theocracy game, which is nearing its conclusion in the next month or two, where I play Saint Soren Augustine, who has a lot of rage and revenge in his heart and is ready to use that to murder a whole lot of people, potentially if needed. Also, we're negotiating with an angel. It's a real normal time. I will then be back here for They Call Us Villains, which is our horror masks game. We will be playing that this Tuesday. All of the powers willing. And then I will be back with LFTA for Class Reunion, our D&D isekai, where I play just a little guy who is a ranger and has never done anything wrong ever in their life, and I can say that honestly. I do a bunch of other things as well, but things will be a little weird as we move into the beginning of December and move towards our Hasmus event over with LFTA and some of the amazing one-shots that are happening there. But I will toss it over to Kian.
Thank you kindly. Hello, everybody. My name is Kian. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Blue Sky at uptight-chiffon. As far as where I'm going to be next on Monday, I am so excited. I will be here for the premiere of Fall of the Ashen Throne. It's going to be a D&D game run by Will. I'm super stoked about that game. On Tuesday, I will be here as well for They Call Us Villains. I have the honor of being able to play in that game with JD. I play a little lad who has never done anything wrong a day in his life, okay? He truly has not. He's just trapped with a bunch of people. He's just trying to fall in love. And then on Wednesdays, I will be over on High Shelf Collective for Beacons Arc 3, The Fall of Arethia. Is that what we're still called?
No, it was only Fall of Arethia for the first part because you guys
Okay.
were back in time for the first part.
Okay,
Now it's just
excellent.
Beacons of Farlight again.
Wonderful. So I will be back over on High Shelf Collective for Beacons of Farlight. I have the honor of being in that game run by JT. I will let them talk more about it. And then, just as a heads up, we will not be playing on December 7th. We're going to take that weekend off because multiple of us will be over at PAX Unplugged. So we will be back toward the end of December. I believe December 21st is the next time that we're going to be here for this game. With that, I will hand it over to JT.
Hello, I'm JC. My pronouns are they, them. I'm with Stellan tonight. Nicest guy in the world. Entropy's in kind of a weird spot right now because it's winter time. There are some games going on an unofficial winter hiatus. Among those is God Complex. But we got a bunch of other cool games going on right now. We got They Call Us Villains, JD's Horror Masks actual play that is on bi-weekly Tuesdays. We have Weird Wild 4, which is every other Friday. It's a D&D 5e homebrew game that I run. And then we have this, which is, you'll see us again in a month. We have a bunch of really cool projects coming up. I will talk about one of them at the end of this. But first, you can also find me over on High Shelf Collective, running Beacons of Farlight. It is a post-apocalyptic actual play inspired sort of by Warhammer 40k. At this point, it's become more of its own creation than anything. We're in the final arc for this main thing. I have something really cool planned for the next big thing with it. Hold on. Okay. All right. Hi, buddy. This is Tater Tot. He's a nuisance, and we are both terrible roommates for each other. Cool. The projects I'm talking about for Entropy, because I can't think of anything else that I'm in right now, is called Star Shard. It is a shonen actual play. It's got some of the coolest set dressing I have ever seen. Big thanks to the production team on that one, and we're going to have a dedicated tech person and everything. It's going to be so sick, so please check that out when it drops in January, tentatively. I'm very excited about it. It is one of the coolest things I've ever done. But other than that, I will leave it to Kian to raid and finish things out.
Thank you kindly. So we're going to be rating roll D5. I don't know why I said the underscore. Roll D5. Um, Be sure to comment in the chat so that they get credit for the views. Be sure to say hi, tell them where you came from, who sent you. Other than that, please be kind to yourselves, each other, and the planet. These are trying times right now, and I am very honored that we could spend some time with you to be able to distract a little bit from that. But the realities are that we need to take care of ourselves and each other. Community is what we need right now, so lean into each other. Over on Entropy Emporium, we are always here to support each other. That's part of why we like to promote our Discord. That is a community that you can be a part of. So take care of yourselves, be gentle with yourselves, and we will catch you here in a month, but also on Monday for Fall of the Ashen Throne premiere. So we will catch you next time, everybody. Say goodnight, cast. Where's my button? See y'all next time.